Happy now and love always to all of you. Stefan. Hey.
Hi, Isaac. Hi, everyone. Gonna put you on speaker view.
Good. Okay.
Hey.
That worked.
Okay.
You know, it's so interesting to see at the core of Maya, of the great illusion, is this idea or this felt sense of separation, that we separate. And yet when we sit like this, that sense gets very faint and yeah, it's, you know, so it's interesting. And then every night when we go to deep sleep, it doesn't exist.
Mm.
And so if we look at that sense of separation has to do with I, me, mine, all those ideas, but yet, you know, we hear and there's presence and the arising of sensation and you know, the world, so to speak, the interpretation of sensation, which is automatic. Nobody does it, but in that, a sense of me appears, a sense of the story.
Mm.
So then we speak about my pain, my experience, my whatever, I and my, they are part of this whole perspective, you could say.
Yeah, while you're speaking, I feel that more and more like the world is appearing.
Yes, exactly.
In me or in it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something, you know, we can understand it, but then when it starts to just appear and we know it, yeah, that's something, grace, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, you know, the old patterns can still play, but they lose a lot of the grip once that's been seen, even once. And then, you know, like this whole, we talk about dying, which, you know, we started this session off with. And it's what is it that dies? You know, we can talk about going back to, I don't know where we go back to or what goes back, but we never left it, actually. So it's like, it's, you know, again, it's this kind of thinking. When we say I go to sleep, what is it that goes? Where does it go to? Yeah. Because that we have experience of on a, you know, usually a daily basis. Sleep happens, that activity of I stops. Because that sense of I is an activity, it's like a, you know, that we're very used to. It just goes on in the background, and then like life looks through that perspective. But
yeah, I feel that this I is like I feel often like a forgetting, and a not knowing, and then allowing and accepting that. And then the I comes back, and the observer comes back and wants to understand. I feel that it's a dance of this old grip, and then just
we can say the momentum of, you know, generations of like a certain habit of attention, basically.
Yes.
Little baby doesn't have that. It's not born with them. It doesn't have a sense of being separate from the mom.
Yes.
And then slowly it learns it again. You are so and this is.
Yes.
And then when we rest and it gets quiet, it's just presence, and love flow, and ease.
Easy.
Even to say, I forget. It's interesting just to look at that. Because there is no I that forgets. It's like,
No.
you know, like, yeah, it's not like that. It's a convenient way of speaking about it.
Yes.
That it's just, you know, old habit comes in and it does its dance. And then, you know, at some point it's noticed. We could say, oh, I noticed. But we can, just as we say, noticing happens. It's really practically beautiful. See which direction it's coming from.
Sorry, I didn't.
I was just looking to see which direction the rain was coming from because one of my windows in my bedroom was a little bit open. But it seemed okay from where it's coming.
Nothing to do.
Nothing to do, not even close the window.
Thank you, Isaac.
How beautiful if we get to meet like this, yeah. Just to recognize again and again and again, just we're here, we're that in which everything appears. Yeah. Frank.
Hello, Isaac.
Hi, Frank. Wait, boss just sent me a message to say my sound is bad. Let me see if I can do anything about that. If I'm close to the mic, is that a bit better, boss?
It is already a bit better. It is
Okay,
already
great.
a bit better. Let us try it this way. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Frank. So that question you wrote me, is it
Yeah.
still in your mind or is it?
Yeah, it comes up from time to time.
Yeah, it's like that. I mean, we live in an amazing time, you know. For how many years have people not had an option about how they spend their days. And, you know, we live in a very privileged time in a certain way. And even now, you know, it's like, I'd say the majority of the world doesn't have that privilege, even today. So just to have that in context, and then you see somehow something comes in your mind. Wow, it's like something's moving, something's tickling. Yeah, it's like, wait a second. Seems like this is something's pulling, and it might start off with like I don't really like what I'm doing, but in the same way, it's just like something's stirring. Yeah.
Mm.
And we can't really solve it with our mind, you know. It's a funny thing. It's just to recognize, okay, something's pulling you in a certain way, yeah.
Yes.
If it activates the mind and gets you kind of busy with it, I'm not sure that that's helpful.
Yeah, actually, it's not really helpful because it produces a strong feeling that there's something wrong with me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And also some fear and anger.
Mm.
So many folders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you're in an inquiry, you know, you're in a process like us all, and it will reveal. I mean, that much we know. Best is to keep quiet and just to watch the movements, not get caught in them if possible. Being gentle.
Yes. That feels helpful.
Yeah.
Being gentle with this.
And your love of truth is not dependent on what work you do and what your circumstance is. It's not dependent on anything. Good to recognize that. But you can see this movement is already bringing into view, like you spoke of, fear and, you know, thinking
And
and
unrest.
just to, yeah, unrest, and just to see it. I mean, yeah. nothing that needs to be solved or fixed. The mind is not the best tool for this, for that exploration. Just the recognition that brings unrest, and you don't need to do it. Don't need to go with it.
Yeah, it's somehow a crazy habit to use that tool. Now I feel like caressed and loved. Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you. Vedanta.
Hi,
Vedanta.
Isaac. I just, there's suddenly such an excitement, and it touches, you was asking me to explore more where we are going when we are go to sleep, and it is such beautiful exploration. And when I just remember it, quite silence is touched. It's very beautiful. And then I can answer, but maybe it's intellectual or a concept, but really this, we go nowhere actually, we just go nowhere. And this morning, I was looking, when we say we go somewhere, or we go to sleep, or we like leaving the body, then there is a little bit like saying goodbye to some people, to people who are close to you. And then I was looking into this, and actually often it is a bunch of patterns actually, or habits, or this person fits better to me than another person. But when we are in here or in Jonathan, then there is no distinction between friend or not friend, so even.
And I love what you, like when we say goodbye, what are we really saying? It's like, yeah, I see you, or, I see you. There's love here, there's an honoring, I don't know, it's like, yeah, it's a funny thing, actually.
And even with friends and close people,
yeah.
One day is beautiful, another day is not so beautiful. It's not depending on the person, actually. It is depending on the spontaneous moment. Is there a flow or not? So
yeah, exactly.
So this is happening since last time, and it felt like sharing because my system was just.
I love it. Yeah. But and just just look. We have this custom of saying goodbye. Yeah. And I'm just curious to play and explore together. What is that actually? It's like, even at the end of the meetings, we wave to each other, or we could say that's a goodbye, but it's just yum.
Yes,
It's like
that it is actually, and there are very impulses to hug or to just to express love, and because it is so beautiful, but it's always a flow, and and it's not depending on a certain person actually. It's or a best friend or something like this. Yeah. Thank you. Mm. Mm.
Here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Looks like you're in a tent.
Yeah, I've created myself a tent.
All right.
It's like fabric that is coming from the ceiling.
Nice.
How can it be that it feels like that I'm starving and I'm drinking at the same time? It's just
Amazing. Huh? So, you know, like that starving, if I have to, it's like this amazing capacity that our system is yearning for something. And at the same time, there's just this wide fullness radiance that's just here. Yeah? I think I've mentioned it before, you know, I was reading Ramana at one time and he was riding to the mountain. And he said, how amazing, you brought me here. You revealed yourself to me, you showed me everything. And you even left me with the capacity to yearn for you, even more. It's such a paradox.
it feels like I could taste like everything, but nothing will ever never fulfill anything. What is this all about?
Just here, including this. Does the word yearning resonate for you when I say yearning?
Yeah, I would say longing and
Longing. Okay.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, a sweet grief or something.
Just allowing whatever that is, space here. In a way, that longing or yearning is kind of like a fire, yeah? I don't know how you sense it, but
I have many feelings or sensations. I don't know. Can also be quite cold and hot at the same time. That's just hot, cold.
Yeah. And it's just space for it happens, if anything.
Can you say it again?
When there's just space for that longing, when it can just be here, what happens, if anything, do you notice?
Melting.
Melting. Yeah.
And still like something hesitant. Just like yeah, very sweet, innocent. I had a like very sweet experience during the celebration when I had a walk in the forest. Then I came back and there was like a blackbird sitting in front of the door. And it was like, I don't know, it was injured, or it just like I took it in and held it, caressed it and kissed it and tried to calm it down. And then it just died in my hands. And it was, I just could feel this moment and this bird died. Before it died, there was just like so much life in, yeah, just like full on life in this body all of a sudden, and then peace. It was just, how is this even possible? It was like there was no separation between, it was just, yeah. Do you have any reference points? Would you say so?
Seems like reference points comes and goes. You know, it's like you know, even remembering what day it is a reference point, which is kind of useful sometimes.
Is the reference point appearing for me to learn to balance? Or what is it that is balancing? Because I just feel like all of these, it's like it's an invitation. The reference point is invitation. And at the same time, it's like also like a holding. It just, is this like how we play or?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it seems like there's just movements, you know. Waking up happens in the morning and then like an activity starts up, like maybe looking at our calendar that we say we'll do something or we'll be somewhere or whatever it is. And so then, you know, like this and when there's not that, I mean, then there's just like the day starts and at some point hunger happens or some point, you know, like some activity moves. And it's like this checking in as, yeah, I don't know, for me, I could say it's like, okay, wow. Yeah, I know that's like something that needs attending to, and do I feel like it at this moment or not? You know, it's just like, so. But sometimes, no, okay, we're gonna have a session with someone or it's market day or time to feed the chickens or I don't know, feed the fish.
Mm.
You know, I mean, it's also at different phases of life. Sometimes, you know, we have a job and we have, you know, it's like, okay, you have to be there at a certain time, spend a certain amount of time there. At this stage of my life, I don't have that. It's pretty much, life just moves as it wants to. But I have these meetings and I love to show up to them. So then I have to remember what day it is.
Thank you for sharing. Thanks.
Thanks, Mira. Yeah. Yeah, Tren. Hi.
Good morning, here at least. Yeah, that touched me, the last inquiry with Mira, because there's this bit similar questions. How to put it? It feels like there's this channel of love has grown or is yeah, widened in a way, and yeah, let's say yeah, in a practical way, I hugged this woman I met lately, and it felt like very strong energy flow. Like I don't know, like electricity in a way. I don't know. It was, and then later she wrote me that in the beginning she felt good, but then she had symptoms and in her body, and then I don't know. I personally love to really enjoy as much flow as possible. And the question came up, and usually it just only flows when there's a willingness on both sides. Is there, maybe you can speak about it, this?
You know, I mean, oftentimes when there's a deep flow, it'll touch a lot of different layers. You know, it's like it can, you know, like can touch really early childhood information. You know, it's like could say fear of being hurt, fear of being abandoned, and especially if it's strong, you know, it can bring up a lot of stuff. So, and I mean, that's the beauty of it in a sense, in a way, you know, like when there's a strong flow like that, the tendency is to want to be in it for our own enjoyment, of course, but also recognizing that it will bring up a lot of things. It always seems to. It is just like that. So it's a huge gift, and also it'll bring up beauty and, you know, excitement, but then the other as well. So.
The backside of the coin.
Yeah. You know, it's like our capacity of relating has been so conditioned, you could say, and so I'd say almost everybody has had painfulness around it, and so that's part of the opportunity and beauty of it. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to understand when there's a really beautiful flow why it doesn't continue, why there's not an interest to keep going with it. It's just like, okay, well, okay. But it is like that. It just is what comes up. But that's its gift in a way, yeah.
Yeah, usually it stops at some point, and it feels to me, I mean, if I want to speak it like a person, it feels like the other stops at some point.
Yeah.
That's how it usually feels.
Yeah, and then, you know, like that can be taken personally.
No, I know.
Or, yeah, or it can be, you know, like it can be quite painful in a certain way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's the interesting point. I mean, it wants to flow, and it's seeking for opportunities to just overflow, and yeah, it's painful when there's a stop.
Yeah.
and at the same time, yeah, that also seems to be part of it. Just, and still, it's really yeah, the whole system is seeking for this flow, like it's always like feels like sending I don't know, certain magnetism.
So there's a beautiful exploration, just to watch all the nuances of, where it's like somehow we're here and the whole universe is appearing in us. And then something wants a particular flavor or wants something.
Yes. Yeah, it's in a way I see it happen. I see it happen like it's, but it's.
I mean, similar inquiry to with Mira. Same. I mean, same in a way.
And I'm at the same time I'm thankful. I enjoy. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I interrupt for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Isn't it all dependent? It's all dependent on something, someone, some.
Yeah. So you know what makes it dependent?
A thought.
It's just a thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why can we feel this flow just now, not dependent on something, someone, some, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not dependent.
But it feels, most time it feels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, in a way you could say like birth happens and then there's a connection with caregivers. And so, if we're really fortunate, those caregivers see us and feel us. If they don't, then it'll leave some residue. And the nervous system will be looking for that information to get complete. And so it'll be looking, where can it complete itself? And then there's a taste of that presence that's not conditional on anything. But the nervous system still has that, it's like looking for, being met fully, you could say.
Fulfillment, yes.
Yeah. And so, there's there's human existence. We tribal, that's our roots. And, until quite recently, we, like, in Germany, they had those big farmhouses where generations would all live together. Not that was, and now everybody's living in their own little boxes somewhere, it's like, it's a funny way that we've moved and living in, a lot of times in not very nice circumstances. but that, you know, in a way, you could say that aloneness isn't so natural to us. We love touch. We love, just being seen and felt and having us. I mean, what happens in these meetings, for example, just resting together. How deeply that touches us. And you know, in the retreats, how when we're in a field like that, and there's hugs, and there's, you know, having someone to sit and have a meal with, you know, all those things. And if not, you know, our system finds ways of compensating and living and dealing with it. But a lot of times it'll have compensations of, I could say anything, overeating, or just different ways of not of dealing with a yearning or a longing. I could say it like that. It's just ways that it manages it. So these days we have phones and computers and whatever, you know, like this. Yeah, there's all these different ways that we find to compensate or manage. And it has nothing, in a sense, it's like, I just posted on Facebook this short talk by Gabor Mate, talking about how, like, our expression is so connected to our life circumstance. You can't really separate it from the life circumstance. Which, I mean, that's kind of what we've been speaking. Yeah, it's just, so, you know, it's like, and so it's a paradox. It's not dependent on anything, and yet, yeah, you know, when we have enough food to eat, and we're not threatened by war or bullying, or, I mean, you know, all the other stuff. But we see even with the government going rogue around this whole crazy rules they made up around their idea of keeping us safe, I could say like that. But what effect it had on everybody, everywhere around the world. Yeah? So here we are.
And isn't it? I'm busy with the retreats. Then we met everyone, and it's love is flowing, but there is not so much wanting from my side. I want this, I want that, I want. It's more enjoy everything. And with a partner, and it's got closer to the family, then there pops up, I want it like that, I want it like that, and if you be that and that makes a difference.
Yeah, so it's like, in a way, when we're getting, like, if your body's getting the food it needs, and it's a balanced thing, then you don't crave anything. But if it's not, then for sure there'll be cravings. So it's like, if our plate is full and we're getting seen and felt, we're participating in life in a way where it feels good just to be, then usually there's not so much wanting. But when we start coming into, like, especially relationship, that construct. It's like there's a bunch of movements that start to play. It's just, and that's the value of it in a way, that we can start to see them and start for some of them to come to peace. Because if when there's a meeting and the foundation is the love of truth, I could say like that. It's not how do we if that's the ground for the relating, then no matter what comes up, it gets met in a beautiful way. If not, it goes into projecting and right and wrong and a lot of painful movements. So, yeah, at least that's what my experience. I don't know what anyone else's, but so that seems, yeah. So, yeah, it's.
I would really love to continue.
Yeah, please. Okay.
I agree with almost everything you say. um, and I mean, it's in these clear moments, it's obvious that it's just missing information, that it could be a gentle ride. But yeah, how it feels here right now, it's really one heavy wave after another. And yeah, and even sometimes losing sight if we can do it together, if we can and to differentiate when it starts to become unhealthy, when it's getting into codependency, or I mean, obviously we are humans. Of course, there are also codependent structures here, no doubt. And it feels really hard to realize it for me.
Yeah.
To get to see it, to get to notice it. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
And I also can't believe that that it cannot become easier for humanity to transform all of this. Like,
I'd say you could say what's happening in you is a transformation. You know, as long as I've known you, there's been an interest to explore in this in these realms. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. I mean, it's like but you know, at the same time, if you look at most relating or relationships, it's not easy also. A lot of times, you know, people find a way to kind of manage their lives together, but they're not happy. They're not really, you know, there's a way of kind of settling for, something that's not truly alive anymore. But and there's a certain comfort in that, but there's also a suffering in that, I could say, in my experience. Oftentimes not really noticed deeply, but it's there. So, you know, and it's not for everyone that this interest is there to explore all these different movements. It's not. It's just, and I don't suggest that anybody needs to, but just if it arises in you to explore like that, then what can you do? It's just.
I mean, when we are joking about it, it's like, oh, other people do really expensive journeys to get that kind of adventure. So I mean, yeah, again and again, in a way, it is exactly the adventure we both want to take. But
yes, you know, and you're holding each other's hands in it. It's like it's this funny thing, you know. It's you know, oftentimes when we make marriage vows, we say, I'll be with you through whatever comes up, but we don't really mean it. But somehow, you know, this isn't about keeping a marriage together. This is about the love of truth that's at the basis of the exploration. So, yeah.
yeah, I mean, on the one hand, there is this, how deeply can I actually trust life to always do the right movement?
You know, so what are the possibilities? Trusting mistrust, or trusting, or letting go. You know, I mean, it's like, what are the possibilities? That's what I can see. It's like, you know, somehow a lot of it comes down to this idea that we think that we are in charge of our lives, that there's a me that's kind of directing it, but it's nonsense. Life, you know, as far as I can see anyway. It's like, you know, this interest, like I said, since I've known you both, this interest has been there, and it's exploring itself through you. And so, yeah. And of course, it'll bring up everything.
Oh. Yeah, becoming the ocean. Yeah,
And
I think
you can see it, like some moments everything is so fine, you're grateful. Another moment, it's like, oh no, I can't stand this. Never signed up for this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the trilogy here is complete. Mwah. Big, big love.
Yeah, thank you. Stefan. Culture.
I feel I've got such a gift of a movie I saw about Chinese, how they relate to dying. And that makes me so happy, because as if it solved the whole stress or fear around dying. Even it is surrounded by a lot of secrets, secretly in the family tribes, how they deal with dying to protect the one who's dying. It gives space to meet and share and being together, even celebrate birthday or marriage or whatever kind of traditions there are. And everybody is aware the person who is dying is not knowing it is dying, because they take the responsibility to carry the death or something like that. But in this movie, the woman, she's Chinese, but grown up in America, she is there and seeing this, and first you feel resistance. It has to be open, it has to be shared, it has to be told. But once they made a family picture, the whole family on the picture, she realized all the sadness in the family because of the dying of the grandmother. And then she ran to the hospital for the letter with the real diagnosis that she's terminal or something. She goes to the copy shop, she changed the diagnosis, and then the whole family is like, okay, now it's time. Grandmother needs to know tomorrow she's dying or something like that. And she read the letter that there is nothing really bad gonna happen. So all the family goes back to Japan and America and all kind of countries, because they don't live with this grandmother, not in China anymore. But I forgot to say that the woman from America, the granddaughter, she was all the time learning Tai Chi from the grandmother, even in that time when they were around her. They do exercises.
I'm going to stop you because,
Now,
like.
yeah, just to get a clue of dying, at the end, the woman walks in America in the park, and once she made a sound of Tai Chi, doing Tai Chi, and then you see the picture in China where all the birds fly off the tree. You see the aunt who tells at the end of the movie, oh, the diagnosis was since 6 years, she's still alive, but you know she is dead. But the message is she is still there in the aunt and in America, in this daughter. So I felt, oh yes, I can relate to that I can also still feel relatives, not in the body, but the energy, that it is part in me or in the
Field,
existence, you know. And even
Mm.
with traditions, what you live, not as conditionings, but as universal energy, you know. Now, maybe it's just bullshit, but I felt so relieved to understand dying, that there is never born, never died, or yeah, it, only the body is falling apart. What happened also with Christmas and Old and New Year, I always feel I'm a little bit falling apart, but then you rise up again, something like that. But something has fallen off, what is not really me. And then the chi, you know, the chi energy, that's real, and that goes on and on and on and on. So there is no fear for whatever. There's only love to share. Something like speech. I feel very happy with all the gifts of existence.
Absolutely.
And you smiling. So nice.
Life is pretty funny.
Uh-huh.
Life is pretty funny.
Life is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Also, yes.
Yeah.
You see it like movies, then it's quite funny. Yeah. Not to identify too much in all the heavy stuff around families, Christmas, and you know, this kind of, yeah. I love the Christmas also. Can you relate to what the movie said or not?
I wasn't really listening so much.
Yes. But you can feel the energy of it. That yeah.
All is well, is all I know.
Yeah, but was it imagination? Because it really gave me space for, okay, if this is dead, there is nothing to fear about.
Yeah.
Is it real? I think it's real. For me, it's real.
No worries.
Yeah, no
Let's leave it.
worries.
Yeah,
That's a
let's leave
relief
it.
to feel.
Yeah. Good.
Even it's
Thanks, Richard.
Happy New Year already. Soon
Happy
in
now.
Australia.
Yeah, happy
Thank
now.
you.
Yeah. Ah, did it.
Ai, ai, saca.
I did. Thanks, Judith.
Thank you, Isaac.
Mhm. Thank you, beloveds, for showing up. Thank you, Bas, for hosting. Peace, love, beauty.